Okay, so what if I told you that some of the most basic animal facts you've known your entire life are just completely wrong? I mean, we're talking about a level of deception that would make a spy blush.
I'm serious. Is it? From the dog sitting at your feet to the so-called king of the jungle, the animal kingdom is absolutely swimming in myths, misconceptions, and some, straight-up Hollywood inventions that we've all just accepted as true. So today we're going to pull back that curtain.
And this quote right here, it just sets the stage perfectly. We've all fallen for nature's version of fake news. So let's become mythbusters for the next few minutes, and we're going to start with an animal you probably think you know inside and out.
That's right, we are starting right in your own home with man's best friend. Turns out our furry little buddies are absolute masters of misunderstood signals. This is like rule number 1 in the big book of things we get wrong about dogs. We see that wagging tail and we immediately think, oh, he's so happy to see me. But what if that's not the whole story? So here's the reality check. A wagging tail is just a sign that a dog is emotionally revved up. It could be happiness, for sure, but it could also be a major warning sign of fear or even aggression. And misreading that signal could get you a bite instead of a cuddle.
And hey, while we're talking about dogs, you know how they pant with their tongue hanging out? Yeah, that's not sweating. That's a cooling mechanism called thermoregulation, which is really just a fancy way of saying they're getting their body temperature down. Their actual sweat glands, they're in their paws and noses. So if you see little wet paw prints on a hot day, well, now you know why.
And that nose, it's basically a biological superpower. A dog's sense of smell is so incredibly powerful, it can pick up scents from over 10 miles away. Just think about that for a second. That's an almost unimaginable ability. Okay, so we're leaving the backyard and heading out into the wild. Let's take a look at some of the most majestic and, as it turns out, most misrepresented animals on the entire planet. Come on, this title is everywhere. It's on logos, it's in movies, it's just burned into our collective imagination. The fierce, noble lion ruling over a big, lush, green jungle. It's such a powerful image, and it is completely wrong. And this slide right here breaks down the two big problems with the whole king of the jungle thing. First off, lions don't live in jungles. They live out in open grasslands. And second, well, the king is kind of lazy. It's the lionesses, the queens, who do almost all of the hunting, while the male, well, he just waits for dinner to be served.
All right, let's talk about the sound of freedom itself. That piercing, majestic shriek of the bald eagle as it soars through the sky. I mean, you can probably hear it in your head right now. It's the sound you hear in every movie, every patriotic montage.
And I'm really sorry to be the one to tell you this, but it's a complete fabrication. It's a Hollywood sound effect. What you think an eagle sounds like is not what an eagle actually sounds like. Not even close.
So that powerful sound you're used to, that actually belongs to the red-tailed hawk. The real call of a bald eagle, it's been described as a series of high-pitched, almost pathetic squeaks and chirps. Not quite as intimidating, right?
Oh, and to add insult to injury, they aren't even bald. The name comes from an Old English word, piebald, which just means white-headed. So yeah, they're kind of frauds in both name and sound.
Okay, time for a rapid-fire round. It really seems like the more we think we know about an animal's survival skills, the more likely it is that we've got it totally wrong.
Thanks to movies like Jaws, we all have this image burned into our brains of a shark just zeroing in on a single drop of blood from across the entire ocean.
The reality, though, is way less dramatic. A shark's sense of smell is good, yeah, but its effective range for something like blood is closer to 200 meters. That's about the length of a couple of football fields, not miles.
But this next myth, this one is far more dangerous. The lie that sharks are cancer-proof led to this devastating trade in shark cartilage supplements. The tragic reality is, sharks do get cancer, and this deadly rumor has contributed to millions and millions of them being killed.
Here's a classic I bet you learned in elementary school. The camel's hump is not a water tank. It's just a giant lump of fat that used for energy. Their real hydration secret is this incredible ability to store water in their bloodstream.
And how about the one where cows have 4 stomachs? Another myth. They have one stomach with 4 totally distinct compartments. You can see them here. It's not 4 stomachs any more than your heart is 4 different organs just because it has 4 chambers.
And finally, that old piece of advice, watch out for the baby snakes, they're more dangerous. Nope, adult snakes are way more of a threat. And why is that?
It's simple. They have a much larger amount of venom to inject, and they've got better control over it.
So after all of this, you just have to wonder, right? Why do we believe these things? Why do these myths have such incredible staying power?
I think this quote just sums it up beautifully. We try to simplify nature to make it understandable, but the reality is infinitely more complex and deceptive. We're always learning, and what we thought was the official rulebook turns out to be just the first page of a much, much bigger story.
This whole thing should make us all want to stay curious. I mean, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other zombie facts, these ideas that we think are true but are actually long dead, are just walking around inside our brains? The more we question, the closer we get to the fascinating and often bizarre truth.